Hey!
Hey, happy Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah, it's Tuesday.
Yeah,
It's a
hey,
very
and it's a very cold Tuesday.
yes.
Cold food.
Our
Yeah.
intro is a very fun starter for this session.
Yes.
Oo. Simulan natin on a fun note eh. Ganun talaga.
Yeah, for those who are watching, thank you for joining us in the Brouhaha B Squad. And normally we're seven, di ba? Oh.
Sabi.
Yeah,
Yes.
normally we're seven, but just a few of us right now. And I'm Lance, together with Mark and Nico. And we're
Hey.
supposed to discuss about Lakan Part 2.
Part 2. Yes.
Part 2 of Episode 1.
Yeah.
Initial
Yes.
thoughts go about that is they should have, there was technical difficulties like yesterday, and we understand that it really happens, but I just wish they would have brought it together. Let's say they knew they would have technical difficulties on Monday and on Tuesday. They could have done it all together on Wednesday or on Thursday or on Friday
Right.
when the weather conditions would be better, and announced that please watch the full 2 episodes on those days.
Right.
Yes.
Kasi
So
parang I think it wouldn't
Yeah.
hurt us as like viewers or customers of the series to like wait. It could have been better had they told us to, that they'll be postponing the premiere of the first episode, diba? By the
Yeah.
Wednesday, right? But it wouldn't hurt really. I mean, we can really wait, diba? Pero yung ganun kasi na, we had to wait like for quite a long time. Like, I was about to sleep already, and then you guys told me na, may lumabas na yung part 2, and like, okay, sige na. I had
Laban na.
grab the whole argument and then, yeah, so yeah, I agree with
Yes.
Lance. Yes.
And according to the chat too, if I'm not mistaken, according to Eric Vergara in the chat, I think there was in drama list, I think, or watch list, there's going to be 8 episodes. But let's see
Oh,
if it's going to be if they're going to be more added afterwards. But as far as the drama list is concerned, it's going to be 8 episodes.
oh, okay, cool. Okay, before anything else, we'd like to say hi to some of our friends in the chat.
Bonjour,
Hey!
Stefan.
Oh, hey. What's up? And we have Jude also in the chat.
Hey, Jude.
Attorney,
Hey, Jude.
Yeah, we were chatting in the live a while ago, so
Oh,
we both need to unpack.
yes, we'd like to hear you too. We also had Tala Maska.
Yeah, he was also there too. He or she, he was there too. So
Right.
we had lots of discussion in the chat.
Oh, I'd like to thank Telemaska. No, I think he or she commented in on our video for Boys Lockdown. I think he or she did mention about Kaloy, about his sexuality. So we appreciate that, Telemaska. Thank you so much for participating in the chat. Sino pa ba? Oh, is asking if.
I do speak a little French because I have French clients too, so I pick up a few words from them.
Oh, mag-sample ka na. Bonjour.
Yeah,
Ano
bonjour,
ba?
bonsoir, merci, je m'appelle Longs.
Bonjour.
Très bien.
Très
Comment ça
bien.
va, Stefan? So there, that's a bit of the French vocabulary. I know I could read French, but it's harder because my base language is Spanish.
Ah,
But I could understand a few French words.
right. Diyos ko, ang alam ko lang, je m'appelle. Mama, je
Yeah,
m'appelle
je t'aime.
Nico. Je t'aime. Je t'aime. All right, so yep. So let's unpack. Sabi mo, let's unpack everything
I
that
know.
we'd like to unpack for part two of this episode of the first episode of Lakan. So what
Yeah,
are
and
your initial thoughts? Yeah.
I think Jude's first words, one of the first issues are supposed to tackle, like based on their chats, there's something wrong with their process.
Okay.
And
Oh,
yeah, and
yeah.
they said, parang, yeah, can we chat about this lack of consistency? That, and there's another one that's saying that they set a premiere time prior to fully uploading an episode. That should be the other way around. Upload and set the premiere. Because I think we
Dapat
know
ganun
that too,
eh,
di ba,
di ba?
Nico? Yeah. I mean, you have to have the video prepared before, then you upload or set
Right.
a time.
Yeah.
Kaya nga, we were thinking na, di ba, a while ago we were saying that it should have been, if they have that video right now, upload it tomorrow, set the date tomorrow, at least we're sure it'll come in.
Right.
Yes.
It was really annoying to have waited for that long. I mean, they did say that it was going to be out by 8 o'clock. We had, ano oras siya lumabas? 11? Tama ba?
Initially, they told us that it will be out by 7, and then they posted
Ah.
naman na it will be
8.
out by 8, and then by 10, and then by 11.
It got aired by, you got the countdown by 9, but it got cut off because it was deleted by the uploader and was
Right.
uploaded recently.
Okay.
So, I mean, they could lose audience because of that, because people
Right.
are losing interest. Like, as one of the complaints in the chat was, we're losing data, especially those data users.
That's right.
We're
that's
losing
right.
data. And for us, we're
Right.
losing time. So
Right.
we scared that, for example, for us, reactors, reviewers, commenters, after show people, we are trying to schedule everything as much as we can because of the rise of the BLs, especially in the Philippines.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. Right.
Grabe, ano, parang we did unpack a lot yesterday, last night, and we kind of like
Yeah.
supported Lakan all the way. We were talking about cultural nuances and everything, about the series, and then this. Okay.
Yeah. And I recently watched also the video interview of Psycho Milk. Hi, Psycho Milk. Hi, Nate. About
Hi.
with the artist, with the director, with the actors. Parang, although the director said that Lakan wanted to induce the male masculinity when they use the word Lakan, but actually Lakan is a title used for both male and female of Diwata descent, or believed to have Diwata descent. So in Greek mythology, that would be like one of the demigods or the gods.
Oh, okay.
So anyone under the god lineage, or anyone who has fairy lineage, would be called Lakan. But not all Lakan can be called the Lakan, unfortunately, because being called the Lakan, the title, would have a whole of responsibilities in it.
Right.
Parang you're supposed to uphold your own people. You're like a ruler as well. In the olden society, we had the Raja, the Datu, and the Lakan, which are all
Correct.
genderless. Because currently we have a Datu na female in the Manoa Bagoba tribes, if you don't know. So there is one Datu that's female. So like a Datu would be a
Okay.
mayor, a Lakan would be like an independent ruler, autonomous ruler if ever. Like if we have it, the current
okay.
government, like a Lakan could be the IP chieftain, a Datu is the mayor, and the Raja is the president. Something like that. Because
Okay.
the Lakan would still be under the mayor, would collaborate with the mayor or with the president still, but they still ruled under the Raja. So it's somehow like that. So I thank Kirby Arroyo for all his information. So I watch his videos too. It's all about history. So if you like history, check it out too. Pero yun lang. I mean, that made me cringe a lot kasi, I mean, Lakan was supposed to be male and female. So, and we have Lakan Bini or Lakan Binhi to be exact, which is a female deity or goddess. of
Okay.
fertility. And there's Lakan Dula,
Right.
which is the male king. Like Dula means to be seated. So he's the king to be
Okay.
seated, or the Fey king to be seated. Parang ganun.
Alam mo, Lance, I think we're hearing a lot from you, and it's nice to hear these narratives and stories. Kumbaga, a context of what it's supposed to be, what Lacan really is, right? I mean, we're
Mhm.
talking in metaphors, we're talking in like symbols or whatnot, right? And it's actually a big like element to be put in as a title, and it's so much
Yes.
fantasies, right?
Yeah.
However, bakit ganon? Nakakalanduda ang oras nila, ha?
Lakang hiya talaga, no?
Sorry, ah.
Sorry, peace, man.
Lakan series parang we were rooting for you last night, and this is not like to bash or anything, right? This is
Yeah.
constructive feedback, and this is coming from us who are fans really of Boys Love. So we'll be giving our feedback also about what we think or what we thought about the second half of the first episode tonight. So any thoughts? Gusto ko talaga marinig si Mark.
Go, Mark. May, alam ko na
I'm
yung first two
so
niya.
sad. Okay.
Wait. To give a preview for those pala who haven't watched Lakan Part 2,
Sige.
we're now thrown into the flip side of the
Right.
culture. Like on the first episode, you were thrown on the indigenous side of Bulan. Now we're now going to the journey of Kaloy, or the character of Paul John, to see
Okay.
the at least the urban, the provincial lifestyle they have in the area,
Right. Right.
which is more
Right.
away from the indigenous side, but it's more provincial Philippines.
Right. Cool,
Right.
cool, cool. But sorry, before siguro we try to like share what we thought. No, I skipped one guy here. It's Bren.
Hi, Bryn.
Hey Bren.
Hello.
Sorry, I skipped somewhere there. And Jude, just to piggyback on what you said a while ago, no,
Yeah,
parang
that's
based
the
on the
one.
stats, ito yung sinasabi mo na Lance, no? There's something
Yes.
wrong with their process. Yeah, I think it's the process. They set the premiere time prior to fully uploading. Okay. Okay, I hope this is a learning process for them also kasi baka bago pa lang. And then I think you did realize kahapon no, na share niyo rin ni Mikey, no, na I think konti lang din yung crew nila in the production.
Yes.
So that's totally
Yes.
understandable.
Yes. I checked the
Uh,
credits too, kanina. Same crew, very few
sila pa rin.
numbers.
Right.
Yeah. Same crew, same actors.
Same crew slash
Grabe.
actor. So it's dedication too. So
Oy, pero
somehow we
we,
understand.
parang we guys, like, tayong tatlo siguro, we had our own fair share of theater experience, di ba, back in college. And then
Yes.
doing production as crew, like props, and then at the same time, ikaw na rin yung mag-act out sa character.
Oh yeah,
Parang
hell yeah.
that's
So
not
hectic.
so hectic. Ano yun, di ba? Mahirap. I mean, it's not gonna be easy. Hindi siya quality talaga. Kaya nga, designated yung mga positions in theater or even in like film production. You have the editor, post-process, and you have the director, the writer, and you have the actors themselves. So, hindi pwedeng, di ba? I understand. Probably it's we're trying to magnify and try to like do something really great. No, ako first siguro comment ko would be like it's kind of ambitious. Like we see cinematography here and there techniques, pero nagkulang for me. So yun lang yung parang sasabihin ko muna. I'll leave it up to you guys. Ano mga thoughts natin?
Well, I have to give them props, but then for that very cinematic shot, yung unang part, no, yung papakita yun of the
Yeah.
mountains and everything. I mean, it was so cinematic that it brings you to the cinema experience, which we all miss. I know you guys miss it too. So
True,
it's
true,
it's
true.
kind of so that's why, as I've said yesterday, no, that sparked my interest, and that sparked my, what do you call this, my drive to watch Lakan, because I was really expecting something visual. So just like what my comment is yesterday, last night, I have comments on the angles of the shots. I have comments on the lighting and
Mm-mm.
this and that. Somehow this episode, some angles were already fixed.
Mhm.
Some angles were already, I mean, some lightings were already, I think, um better than the last part or the first part of the first episode, which we talked about last night.
Yeah.
However, I think we will all say, however, we'll all say, but we'll all say this things like um ano ba? Sige, I'll start with a song. I really like the song. That's
Oh
one thing.
yes, me too. That's one thing. It's really
I
catchy.
Yeah, I like the song. I if it's in a playlist, please let us know again. So
Yeah.
we want to hear the song play even in more episodes back. Um Now for the bummer, I think I'll go straight to bummers na kasi
Yep, go ahead.
go. Well, first, um ako din, just like what I've said last night, I have this hindi naman siya moral dilemma, pero I have this parang, do I give them a free pass because they came from, I mean, the production is based in the province. So it may or may not,
Mhm.
please correct me if I'm wrong, it may or may not be as progressive as we expect productions to be. Pero there were some
Mhm.
BL tropes kasi na mention or na tackle, na touch. It's not,
Right,
Yes.
right.
yeah, it's not just off tangent na tinamaan. It's really there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Few minutes, no? Nandun yung
Hindi
scenes.
lang mahaba-habang minutes yun.
Mahaba.
Like like it took like what, 20% of the airtime. So parang
Yes, yes.
for them to give that much exposure to what I'm about to say. I think you all know this is about the two effeminate gay characters,
Ah,
Lakambini and
No, it's
no, no,
Lanting, di ba? Luningning
Luningning and
and Bighani.
Bighani, sorry. Yan. Luningning and Bighani. Nung when I first saw them walking, the first scene na nakita sila, parang, oh, this can go south easily. What will they do next?
Yes.
And then eventually it went there. It went south easily and sadly mahabang exposure. But I also have this experience. I also see that they were trying to, they were trying to build up the hype of the two main characters. No?
mhm.
They it kind of went sour for me when they did that in the scene together with uh the other two gay characters. No.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I can't. Why do they need to take their tops off? I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, it gave me this
Yeah.
the feeling of watching the 2008 2004 in the films based on the
Mm-hmm.
mama sang, based on the
Mhm, mhm,
masajistas,
mhm,
based on
mhm.
Uh-huh.
parang,
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with the masahista image, but kasi it's not as progressive, it's not the same with the message that we are all calling for. I mean, us as
Yes.
members of the LGBTQIA plus community. And
Right,
then the
right.
other one, it's a really bummer for me when they were having dinner. They tackled
Ah,
Hi
ah.
Mikey. Came in
Hi,
the perfect
Mikey.
timing. The energy is so
Yes.
high. We were just
Hi.
we were just talking about how good the episode is.
um, okay, fill me in.
Have you
What are you
watched it
discussing?
already?
Yes, I have. I actually
Okay.
just finished. My
Oh, okay.
God,
Cool. O
the
sige.
way that I fell asleep waiting for this episode to come out.
That part.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
so
Go,
go.
I
go,
see a
Mark.
comment down there, but yes, go ahead, continue, Mark.
Yeah, just I was saying about the dinner scene where they had longganisa and talong. There's so many choices of ulam or not they could have went for. Pero why the longganisa and the talong? I mean, clearly, I don't know if they did it on purpose, but clearly for
Mhm.
me, the message that I got was it was a sexual innuendo, and then
Yes.
It was.
the way that they looked at each other's eyes, and while the other one is eating the longganisa and the other one is eating the eggplant. Parang, I mean, at this platform, with the platform that you have, with the following that you have, and at this time where people are really engaged and people are really interested in watching BL series, at least go with the at least go with the message, no, with the cause of why we are celebrating BL series right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of polar kasi with what we are asking for.
Oh, sabi nga ni Jude, polar bear na daw.
Yeah, yeah,
Ay,
yeah.
nako.
And well, one thing apart from I don't know if I can call them out for it, pero the acting of I think it was she a daughter of the
Yeah,
mother,
Yeah, si
the
Ditas.
granddaughter, I think.
the granddaughter.
Apo yata, she said.
Uh, um, I mean, I don't know if they will mention the backstory of the character, pero why the angst? Why 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 was she so feisty? What was she so feisty
Oh
about? I
my
mean,
God.
I like I
Yes.
get I get that because maybe like maliit na yung bahay nila, nag-invite pa ng dalawang tao, so sisikip sila lalo,
Hmm.
makahati pa yung
Mhm, mhm,
their share of the
mhm.
food, the ration. But um ano ba? It gave me the impression kasi of she's being the maldita character. And again, the maldita character is always the female ones. So
Yeah.
parang another
Tap-
trope for me na tackle nila is which went south was
Tapos
that.
para siya yung one-dimensional maldita character from a series that thou shall not be named. So I'm seeing the same mold, which I'm
Yeah.
scared already.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, yeah, I don't have much to say because the
Yeah.
part is so short. I mean, what
Yeah,
else
but I agree
is
with Jude then. Kasi I mean, in Philippine culture, regardless if you're a guest, ay parang if you're a guest, a visitor, a friend or not, you treat your guests with a slight happiness or respect, but then you backstab afterwards. Kada paano, you make Chika
yeah,
talk back
yeah,
in the kitchen or talk back in, at the back, but not the way na ganun, in front of the person. Kasi Paul was
yeah,
treated like a guest, supposedly. She, parang, in that context, he was the alaga of Yaya Zenny. So, parang there was no reason for him to be bullied or to be treated with that maldita character.
yeah. It's not as representative of that if you go traditional, the traditional
Mm,
um, characters from the provinces were not as confrontational as her. So I
yeah.
think I don't know, was she from Manila or but yeah,
I don't
it's not
know.
it doesn't align with the characterizations of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, also parang yeah, we also what Jude is saying down there na Vulan seemed standoffish to the guest. That counter to the idea of people, especially in a province, as being hospitable. Although in some provinces we do have a sense of distance, but
Mhm,
we won't stare someone down like that. Because I know for the Igorot culture, we're very strong, forward people. We're very frank and straightforward. So we may appear so dominant in front of you, but we're not that rude. Kumbaga, we'll be rude afterwards once we get to know you. We'll be frank when they get to know you. We'll be spilling all the tea. But in the first moment, or parang we'll be cautious. We'll be quiet. We'll be taking it parang okay. We'll still read you kung ano ka ba talaga.
Mhm.
So it makes me feel like, especially for people like who's going from abroad and going to the provinces, seeing that capsule, parang would they get the same impression that the people from the provinces of Manila or from outside Imperial Manila would be that? Which is not. It's completely not. We're very hospitable people.
right, 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 right.
Okay,
Yes, and yeah.
finally, I think I'm ready to weigh in a little bit.
Sige, sige, sige.
Sige, go, Mikey.
Oh my god. So I wasn't able to hear the first part, but from what you guys said, Ditas is the character of the Apo. And
Yes.
basically the first thing that she said when she saw Kaloy was about bahay bakasyon na pala to. So she was basically saying that, oh, you're making this a vacation home or something. So
Mhm.
it was like, well, of course they know each other from before, and like he said, we don't know what the drama is there, but apparently she is not happy that he only comes whenever he feels like it, because to me that's what it felt like. Like she
Yeah.
resents him for just being there when it's time for him to have a vacation, maybe time
Yeah.
away from the tribe, right? So I
Yeah.
don't know what that's about. Is she the type? Is she a person who probably doesn't like where she is, but she's forced to be there, and he resents somehow Kaloy being able to go wherever he pleases. I don't know. So that's one thing, right? And yes, she was very hostile. So I'm assuming that there was a very I don't know, hostile past there. We'll find out once this comes along. And I think when I came in, you guys were talking about the pair. The pair,
Ning and Big Honey.
right? Luning Ning and Big Honey. Just by the names, I think it's very, I don't know. I think it's very
I like their
um,
names though.
yeah, actually, right? It's very
Those are good
ladylike.
names.
Those
Yeah,
are
but
good
hindi ako
names,
nabighan.
right? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I
And
think it's
Luning Ning means to shine. So
correct, like luminous, right? And
yes.
I guess this is, in a way, sort of like them being tongue in cheek. Maybe they're trying to be humorous in that way. That these are characters who are named after, I don't know, very ano ba tawag doon? Mahinhin characters, but they are not very mahinhin or
You're the
shy at
opposite of the
all.
characters they show.
They're very opposite. I mean, they appear
Yeah.
to be very, like somebody said, polar. I don't know if you guys mentioned that already. But yeah, so I think they were trying to be tongue in cheek and humorous in that sense, but somehow it didn't fly the way that they wanted it to, or maybe it might not be taken the way that it was meant to be. And I think in this case, we all interpreted it in a different way, like maybe
Yeah.
negatively, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, yes, this is again one of those BL tropes, right? So I'm kind of on the fence about it still. I'm
Hmm.
hoping that this is just in the beginning and somehow they change it.
Yeah,
I
But
hope
right
so too.
now, what it's looking like is basically the usual caricature of the femme people, the femmes, sort of like falling for the straight acting manly masculine guy, and in the end not being picked, or not even being
yeah,
considered because of their the way that they act, the way that they
expression.
dress,
Yeah.
etc., and of their
Yes.
gender expression. That's true, right? And again, we've talked about in other series how, or in other discussions about how these femme types used to be the caricature in Philippine cinema and Philippine media of being the typical gays, wherein you have to wear makeup, you have to wear women's clothes, and you have to always be uh, loud a little bit. And
Hmm.
in this case, I think somebody mentioned in the chat, they're really thirsty hoes, you know.
Yes. I read that in the chat. My God.
So they're like
Yeah.
the full on 100% caricature types that we've seen in
Right.
Yeah.
In
in
every
cinema.
Philippine cinema that we
In
have,
every correct portraying gays to be
the comic
thirsty.
relief.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, right. So I don't know. I'm not too happy about that, to be honest.
It's
Like
it's like Manaypo again. Is that a yeah, that's the movie.
Roderick
Yes,
I
there's a movie.
Paulate.
know.
There's a
Again, we
movie,
talk about
Manaipo.
Roderick Paulate and Diego from,
No, I can
Bubble
handle I can handle
what is that?
Roderick Paulate's acting, but I mean, kasi with Roderick Paulate's acting, there's a bit of contrast
Mm-mm.
still from his character as being.
Yeah,
I mean, he's sort of humanized, but with the current in releases now for the effeminate roles, where it's purely comic relief, it's purely caricature. That's cringy
right.
for me.
Right, right, right. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll have to agree with Jude on this, on the costume. Parang exag naman. Ano ba yun? Kailangan talaga
Yes.
may ribbonette ka sa ibabaw. Di ba? And then, even the makeup, ang kapal-kapal. So, was it even necessary? Di ba?
Mm.
It looks unnatural for all
Mhm.
the wrong reasons.
Right.
And are they in the barrio? I'm not sure.
Oo nga eh.
Yes,
Hey,
they're
Nate.
staying in the barrio somewhere. Kasi
Hi,
they were the
Nate.
kuliglig. Hi, Nate.
Right. Oh my God, yes, there's
Nate,
a colleague.
spill some dish.
But I don't know. I guess in that area they're a little more urban, so probably they are a little more open about expressing themselves. But I would have to say it felt kind of out of place for me. I don't know, because I was so assuming that and I grew up in a province, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
don't
Right,
necessarily
right, right,
see,
right.
although that was a while ago, you know. I mean, I was younger a while ago, so I don't know about the provinces these days. But yeah, I mean, it just felt a little bit off for me, a little bit awkward. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You can fight me on that. That's okay. We all have
Yeah.
different opinions, but I mean, that's how it felt like for me. You know. Yeah.
And I think Sir
And
Will was talking about the first costumes in part one, episode one, the
Mm.
indigenous
Yeah.
ones. Because those are on
mm,
point, even from my perspective as an IP. So they were close. They were not disrespectful. They were tastefully done. So there. But for
right.
the costumes of Lening Ning and Big
Ayun.
Honey, that's another story.
Yeah.
Mhm. Right. And I think you guys also mentioned about the food, right? So I'd also like to
Mm.
mention that a little bit. Actually, I didn't think of it in that way, but it's good that you guys mentioned. It's pretty phallic, actually. Those symbols, right?
Yes.
Sobra, sobra.
I,
Pretty
Yes.
much.
but I think that could be again interpreted differently because I wasn't able to interpret it in that way. Maybe because I just woke up, I don't know, but I didn't think of it as phallic until you guys mentioned it. But now it makes complete sense. Like, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Huh, you're
Yeah. For
right. I
Stefan,
mean,
that's eggplant, aubergine, and
aubergine, aubergine,
sausage,
and sausage, right? Those are pretty
and
phallic
smoked
symbols.
sausage. So you know.
So yeah, I'm not sure if that's common fare for people in the province, but
It, I mean,
okay,
that combo, not really, but as
that combo, not
separates,
really.
yes.
That separates, yes, absolutely, right? So I don't know what they were
I would
thinking
have
about
loved
there.
it instead if they did longanise and eggs. That would have been better. So those really happen.
Yeah, and actually, I do that as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we usually have sausages and eggs at home, so yeah, that's pretty much common there. Um, Wait,
Yeah.
sorry, I haven't checked part two, so let me just see and I'll come back that later if you're
Okay.
still. Oh my god, you know what? I'm still half asleep because when I read that, at first I thought, come back later if you're still alive. Huh? Live. Okay.
Okay. We're now
Okay.
live.
Okay,
Oh yeah,
yes.
I'll talk about that too if you don't mind me sharing. Yeah, the objectification of the two effeminate characters of the leads also lead the bitter
Mhm.
taste. Do gays
Very
Mm.
thirst?
true.
Absolutely, but the way it
Right.
was done,
Mm.
was this tasteful. It was
Sobra,
done in a very exaggerated,
sobra.
comical, slapstick kind
Yeah.
of way that it
Right.
became too much of a caricature. And
Oh
I
my
think
God.
the best
Yes.
so far I've seen the trans roles or the gay effeminate roles being played in a BL series was in Amore. Kudos to
Mm.
them because they have Petit, they have Robic, they have because they have two students who play effeminate roles, Gabo and Robic, who play Brenda and Jelai. And there's also Petite, who's the landlady, who's also a trans woman there. So you
Mhm.
could see like Petite as a mother figure. You could see Jelai and Brenda as students who happen to be effeminate, if you get
Mm.
the references.
I just-
So they're not being highlighted as so much being like those characters. They would be saying, uy, ang guwapo nito. But until that, yun lang.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yes, that.
Right, exactly, 'di ba?
Yeah, there were so many unnecessary scenes. I mean, unnecessary innuendo scenes because I think that is like a throwback to another soft core kind of throw
Right.
or tease,
The way that
kumbaga.
they did a slow mo every time the guys
Mhm,
would
mhm.
take off their shirts. I mean, it was pretty in your face, right? Like, okay, we are showing you these bodies. We're doing it in slow mo, right? So you better look,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So you also mentioned that they were sort of like giving the evil eye, right? And yeah,
Mhm.
that's pretty weird as well. But I'm also wondering, you guys already mentioned that, but I'm also wondering why he was doing that for the newcomer John, right? So I'd be interested to know why he was looking at John that particular way. Maybe it was because
Right.
you have seen part of himself in John. Maybe he found John attractive, but he just doesn't know how to deal with it. So that's why he sort of like
Mm.
gave that really blank, really hard stare. So I'm hoping that it's going to be explained in the coming episodes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah,
And I think Anli Mart is saying something that I wish they showed a scene wherein John had asked Zen if it's okay to stay for him to stay, so it didn't
yeah.
feel like he forced himself into the household. And maybe that's why there's
Uh,
a tension between Ditas as well. Kasi parang, yun nga, she's giving this in a way, this saying na, oh, you're adding more people in our house. Yeah, I think for
yeah.
Stefan, it's going to be harder for him to read all of these, especially that there was no subtitles now in English.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
But
maybe
Right.
basically, that
tomorrow.
scene, Stefan, it made us feel like Ditas was giving the person some bull because she was so pissed. That's it.
Yeah. Basically. Um, But with regard to what was it Arnold Marl? He said, for me, it didn't feel like he was forcing himself in that horror household. I think that they had a very strong relationship when they were still together, and by that I mean when he was being taken care of by Yaya and Zenny, because he called her Yaya, right? And
Yeah.
I think that she's very fond of him as well. And as you know, those who had Yayas when they were kids, I had a Yaya when I was still a kid, and
Yeah, me
they
too.
basically treated me and considered me as their own child, you know, and they'd be there always. They would be my constants, and I think they had an idea as well of the type of relationship they had, and also the background of John, because John said, "I'm happy to be here, and you're basically closer to me than my dad." Right? He said something like that. Na, mas nakakaintindi ka sa akin kaysa kay daddy. You understand me more than daddy understands me, right? And I think that's also very indicative of, let's say, the mindset of John in terms of, um, I think because he's running away from home, because he said, um, kailangan ko lang huminga. I need to breathe, right? So he needed
Yeah.
time away from his family or the city or wherever he was from, right? And I think that's something that they have in common. So him and Kaloy, they're both running away
Yeah.
from something, from where they were. I mean, maybe from his family, and then Kaloy from his tribe, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting that their sort of like halfway house or their sanctuary is Zeni, right? So that's something that ties them together. And also, one other thing that we get introduced with John is that, especially from the trailer, right? I think in the trailer it was mentioned that he was running away and he has, I think, a fiance. And
Yeah.
there was a line in the trailer wherein he was asked, paano na yung kasal natin? So what about our wedding, right? So I think that he is running away and he's getting, maybe not cold feet literally, but maybe he is doubting himself about how he
Yeah.
feels about the other person. So that's why he needed time away from that, from everything, from planning the wedding, etc., and so forth, so that he can go ahead and think for himself. Maybe, in a way, maybe he's trying to look for himself, right? Before he either commits or before he tells them the truth or before he cuts ties with everyone at home. So that is the part that I appreciate about this episode is that we get to see more about the other character, right? Because in the
Yeah.
first part it was about Kaloy, and for the second part it was about John. And I also appreciate. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, John.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
You can say
Unfortunately, I saw more of Luning Ning and who's the other? I saw more of the three characters: Luning Ning, Ditas, and
it's
Big
Big
strong.
Handy instead
Hand.
of John. I would love it centered on John himself, not on them.
Yeah,
Then add them on episode 2, maybe. But it should have started with John's pure story itself. Like why was he
right,
there? Why did he run away? His connection with the
right.
Yaya. Because I think I like what
Correct.
Anlit Marlo was saying. It's more like that gesture when Ditas ranted out. The Yaya said,
Mhm.
"No, it's okay, it's fine, let him stay." That part, he could have said that. Aling Zeli could have said that to as reinforcement of their connection. Parang ganon.
Right. Um. So yeah, and I
Pero
wanted to
there's
come
a
to
lot
you.
more. Oh yeah, you go ahead.
I don't know if you guys mentioned this already, but during the dinner, Nanay Zenny said that John is more of a meat eater, and then Kaloy is
Gulay.
more
He's a
of
that are,
like her vegetables or grains,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think that's also one thing that right now is something that sort of like separates them or um, sort of like are the differences. I cannot English right now. These are the differences. But I'm thinking that maybe sometime in the future, they might, because John was mentioning something. He mentioned something, right? He mentioned something like Deacon Healing or something. But anyways, that's something different for
Yeah.
them now. But maybe sometime in the future, they might actually cross over. Ito na naman yung crossing the line, and they might, they might start enjoying gulay or they might start enjoying meat, right? So we'll see about that. Um, Very small bed. Nana and Zenny was in between, and then they were
Yeah.
facing opposite directions when they were sleeping. But when they woke up, they were holding hands. So I think that was a cute thing.
Yeah.
Although
Honestly, I mean, honestly, their
don't
chemistry as a couple is undeniable. You could see
actually,
that.
actually,
Yeah, because
actually,
they already have the connection.
Yes.
right. Especially when he was in the makeshift toilet.
Oh, damn, yeah.
And I have something to say about that as well. But anyways, so Kaloy opened up the toilet and then he turned around and then they sort of met. And I was like, I actually rewound that scene because I wanted to see it again. Because
Yeah.
I smiled. I smiled when I saw their faces are like that. And then the music comes in and then starts playing. I was like, oh. And then I had to rewind. Okay, let me watch that again. Because I appreciated that, right? But here comes the question mark. Because Ditas told Kaloy to get her water. And then he goes to that makeshift toilet to get water. So maybe there is, what do you call this? There is a faucet there that could explain the reason why. But the first thing
Yeah.
that I wanted is, why is he going to the toilet? Because it could just be a hole in the ground. I don't know. But
I
anyway,
think it's a shower.
there might
I
be
think
a
it's a
faucet.
shower then.
Yeah, so there might be water there. But yeah. Okay, so that explains it. But yeah, I just wanted for that for them. But yeah, I like the chemistry of the two, right? But
Yeah.
hopefully it's
And
more good things in the next episode than there are bad
yeah,
things.
I'm hopefully they break stereotypes too for the next episode. Big destroyed tropes again, especially for Big Hani and Luning Name. Because honestly, when I saw the trailer, I was excited to see those two. Because my first reaction for those two, I felt that they were trans, especially Big Hani. You could see it in her face, or gay, effeminate. You could see that. And my instinct was saying, these could be two strong, powerful Babaylan figures in the series. That is what I was expecting. I was hoping they would have been Babaylan figures, even if they'd be playing modern roles, but they were Babaylan in a way. They emit that kind of spirit as well, because the director was having that same spirit. So I felt like it felt down for me. Like you put your fellow LGBTQ people into this caricatures of them. So, and especially that when after watching the Psycho Milk interview, it felt like, and he was preaching on he's been to different tribes, different cultures, different LGBT stuff. It didn't feel like he not put some shade, but I think he did reinterpret it very well, or it flowed in a different way. He maybe went to the safe or the stereotypes or the tropes that we usually see that they're
Yeah.
used to in the Imperial Manila because I know then the director has done a lot of movies as well in Imperial Manila. So maybe he used those tropes still, or he's used to those tropes, unfortunately. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping that, like what Runji is saying, I'm hoping that maybe in the next episodes, their image would change, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Well,
But
one thing I have to admit, though, was I found it funny when
Yeah,
Zenny said, iba talaga pag ihi yung pinadilig mo sa halaman.
Yes, actually,
And
that's
then
funny.
she threw the piss water, and then it fell on the two people, and I was like, ah! Because it's not
Honestly, that
happening in
was
real
funny
life. I'm
too.
like, shit, damn, right? Yeah. So, and yeah, I understand that it could be for comedic relief, and I think as Filipinos, we've gotten used to that, and we've gotten used to
Yes.
very comedic characters played by caricature gays, right? But I'm hoping that we can do comedy in another way. It's sort of like we've always done slapstick. We've always done
Mm-hmm.
ridicule the main
Mm-hmm.
character or ridicule the fat guy, right? And here it gets a little broader, right? Parang we've always gotten used to ridiculing the those who are not perfect or those who
Yeah.
are, let's say, not the same as everyone else, right? But the thing is that that has to change a little bit, right? Especially these days, we have to be more conscientious. We have to be more conscious. And I understand that it can be funny, right? But if you think about it, it can be a little bit demeaning sometimes, especially if they're always portrayed that way as that one-dimensional character, and that is the only role that they have to play, right? So
Yeah.
this is a very intelligent, I think, um, theme, right? And this is a very intelligent concept, right? So I'm hoping that it rises above that, and that they are able to somehow become more two, three-dimensional, right? That's what I'm hoping for, diba? So yeah, it's okay to have different opinions, and I'm hoping that we understand that there are different ways of looking at things as well. But I'm hoping
Yeah.
that it goes a little bit differently for them this time around or for the next episodes. We need to watch it in its entirety, absolutely. Because right now we're only seeing the first episode, right? And
Yeah.
I don't know how many episodes there are going to be. Hopefully, if
Eight
someone
though.
knows. Oh, eight
So
episodes.
yeah, so we,
Okay.
we asked a while ago in the live chat. He said Eric Vergara said it's 8 listed in the drama list,
Mm.
but we'll see.
Oh, okay. All right. Um, so yeah, first one was pretty good, and second one maybe needs a lot of improvement in terms of
Yes.
certain aspects, right? Um, yeah. Jude asked the
If I,
question. Did we
that's
answer
a
that
good
already?
question.
Yeah.
No, we haven't yet.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, if I would, if I would had that, I might, if I've seen it as a whole together, I'd still support it. So I might disregard, I might overlook the Dita's role because it would have balanced, the tribes would have balanced the ambiguity of
Yeah.
those two effeminate characters for me if it was
Mhm.
seen in one flat scene together, in one day together. So you would see two contrasts for me. You'd see two societies. You have the reality and you have the tribal reality. So the contrast would have balanced it out together if they were shown it together. But it wasn't, unfortunately.
Uh, yeah. I guess, well, we had a lot to say, and we had some sort of like a room for improvement as well in the first episode. I think it was mainly about the technical stuff,
Yeah.
right? But in terms of the flow and well, in terms of what we saw in the first part, we liked it, right?
Yeah.
Now overall, looking back at everything that I've seen, I still like the concept. I still
Yeah,
like
me too.
the premise, right?
Yeah.
There are a couple of things that we hope could be improved. But overall, if you ask me if I'm still interested to watch this, I am still interested to watch this because I want to see how the couple story goes, right? I want to see
Yeah.
that, and I also want to see more about how um, they journey and traverse this two opposing worlds, right? And that's what the song is basically about. Magkaibang mundo.
Yeah.
So they are
Yes.
different worlds. One is modern, one is traditional. So how do we reconcile that? How then do we make
Yeah.
this story work? How do we make this
Yeah.
happen, right? Given that we have two different backgrounds and two they're basically polar opposites as well, right?
Yeah.
So even in the food, it was indicated that they're polar opposites. So I'm very interested to know what happens there.
Yeah. And
How
if they
about
tell
you?
a story the same way, it'll be fun. I mean, you get part one as the, if that's going to be the flow for every episode, you get part one in the tribal life or a throwback to the tribal life or a connection
Mm.
or reference to the tribal life. And the part two is going to be the other perspective
Yeah.
on John or Paul Cervantes' character. So it's like you're
Yeah,
doing flipped with two parts.
yeah.
You
Hopefully,
see
it
Right.
gets
Kaloy's
shown the
part
same
and
day.
John's part. Hopefully.
Ho- Hopefully, it gets shown the same day. No, para
Yeah. It would be better on the same
Yeah.
day.
I think that is what they're planning in the next for the next episode. So it will be up there on the same day. Yeah. How about you, Nico? Mark.
Well, I have been listening to you guys, no, and I've been hearing different things. Like, there's a possibility to go. Ako, in my head, I'm more curious about the writing process. Like,
Mm.
with all honesty, I'll be like the critical person here sa ating apat siguro, because I really didn't like it, like totally. So,
Mm.
magbabash dyan, bahala na kayo dyan. It's just my opinion.
Mm.
But I'm totally agreeing with Jude that it's not something that I'm not really sure if I'm gonna watch all the way, but still I'm gonna support the series. But I would still give it a chance. The next episode, it might turn out differently. But I just didn't like the tropes. I think you guys did mention about that already. Siguro, I'd like to flash this. I think may nag-comment from Unlit Marl na parang the piss water scene is very reminiscent of the 80s comedy. Yes. Siguro
Yeah.
I'd like to use this as my benchmark, as my basis for what I'm gonna say. That I
Okay.
felt that the humor was not kind of, but it's totally outdated to me. Na parang
Mm.
I understand. I think Lance made mention about the possibility of the representation of the Babay lands, so on and so forth. I get the whole point, the metaphor and the imagery. Yes, it can be there, but is it really their
Hopefully.
purpose? Is it really their purpose and intention? I don't see that coming. I'm hoping for the next episode to like compensate the story, or to like redo the story, or they come up with a different
Mm.
sort. So could probably surprise us at the end of the day. But at the moment, I really didn't like the episode entirely. I think going back to
Mm.
this question, if had we seen the entire two parts of the first episode, hindi ko talaga siya magugustuhan. But I do like the cinematography. I do like
Yeah.
the
Yes.
songs. I do like the effects. I super love it. Okay, yung dubbing lang siguro. That's something that they can work on definitely. But I'm not really sure about the story. Alam mo yun,
Mm.
parang it felt outdated. Feeling ko parang there's a living in the past and they're trying to revive the past. Sabi nga ni Anlit Marley, but they're living the 80s comedy today and they're trying to
Mm.
repackage it in present time. Ganun ang dating sa akin. So, I'm hoping that it will change in the next episode though. Because I'm looking
Mm.
for not really a modern perspective, but more of a realistic perspective kung ano talaga nangyayari at the moment. Kasi, this is present time. Hindi, wala namang parang timeline na this was back in the 80s, di ba? Wala namang sinabing ganun
Mm.
or
Well,
pinigyan. And I'm given
Mm.
the impression that it's really reminiscent of, sabi nga ni Litmar, parang 80s. So sa akin, parang I wanna see something different that's not going to make me feel outdated. And I'm hoping that they'll be able to do some sort of representation, just like what Lance said. Parang show us a metaphor siguro. If it's representing like the Babay lands, then show us that already. But siguro tama din yung sabi ni Stefano. Stefan said that it could be too early for us to like say a lot of things about the series kasi first
Mm.
episode pa lang naman. So I'm
Yeah.
50% hoping still, but I'm getting perfectly honest. I really didn't like the episode. Yun lang.
Okay. Yeah. So that's right. We all have different interpretations about it, and we all have different feelings and emotions about it. Siguro
yeah.
from my end, it felt kind of well. First of all, I really fell asleep because I was waiting for the episode.
Ako
Yeah.
rin! Ako
And
rin!
the way that I sort of like woke up, and then suddenly you guys are live, and I'm like, oh, okay, I totally missed it. Oh my yeah, and so probably that's why when I started watching it, I wasn't fully awake. So probably I didn't catch the same feelings as others. No, so that's
Right,
why.
right.
Yeah, but um, I would have to say I agree with you as well, Nico. But I guess I feel more hopeful than anything else
Yes.
because I want to believe that this can do something, right? That this
Mm-mm-mm.
can be something.
Right, right.
So we'll see. We'll definitely see. Again, it's too early to tell,
Mm.
but hopefully hopefully it all works out in the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, gusto
Yeah.
ko pala ako. But like, siguro,
Uh,
when it comes to acting, siguro, hindi ko lang siguro na-verbalize, but I think that these two should act a little bit more naturally, I guess. Para may mga
mhm.
lines lang that were like delivered very, hindi ba, ayoko sabihin scripted, but parang it was very
Practice.
practice, yeah,
Practice.
Yeah.
rehearsed.
Yeah.
Kaya ba, sa pag
Rehearse. Yeah.
alam mo yung tipong nagbabato ka na ng linya pero you're anticipating for the next lines. You're anticipating for your partner to deliver your line. Parang ganun yung nasa-sense ko sa kanila. May parts lang, not
Mm.
entirely.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. But I do agree with you. I could sense, I did sense the chemistry of the two. That parang, okay,
Yeah.
so I'm 50% like hopeful also that they will be able to deliver and show something different in the next episodes. Yep.
Right. Even Ditas, I thought about that I thought that about her as well when she delivered her
Yeah.
line like, oh, so nagiging bahay bakasyonan na palang to.
Yun. Diba?
Right. So yeah, it felt a little dramatized as well.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking it may be the first day of the shoot. I don't know, but hopefully it becomes
Yeah.
more natural, especially
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the couple since they have been together. But the thing is, I think it is kind of different when you are talking to each other as yourselves and when you are throwing lines to each other as characters.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when I saw their interview with Psycho Milk, I think they said that they
Mm,
were being coached, etc. They were being taught, etc.
yeah.
Yes.
And they said
Yes.
something like, "There's so much we still need to learn, etc., etc."
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think
I
they
remember that.
become. I mean, you know how people are, especially us, for example. You know how we become when, for example, the first time that we are put on camera, it gets awkward, and we're like, okay,
Mhm.
etc. So
Mhm.
I think that's the added pressure of having to deliver these lines because they are words from someone else. So that can pose a challenge for you, especially if you're a newbie actor. At least I don't know if they've acted in any before, but I think this is the first time I
Mhm.
am seeing them. So maybe
Mhm.
it's for first time, right? So yeah, I guess a little more. They should be a little more loose or relaxed, when they deliver these lines. Because I mean, um, you can basically become the character. Once you become the character, once you've integrated that or internalized these characters, the lines will flow more easily, I think. And I'm
Mhm.
I'm not an actor per se, but I am a trainer. I
Yeah.
talk in front of a crowd,
We're
so I
actors.
know I know I know a thing or two about being able to deliver an emotion because
Mhm.
so that I don't get out of or I'm not taken out of context. There are days when we as trainers feel tired, we feel exhausted, right? Or something happened in our personal lives, and we're not feeling 100% when we teach or when we train. So that's what I'm talking about. Like we don't
Yep.
show what we are feeling inside, right? We show the trainer that we are, right? I mean, we show
Mhm.
that side of our persona. So it's the
Yeah.
same thing for actors, right? You don't show who you are really. You are showing the character that you are portraying. So it's like
Yeah.
that, right?
And you play
So
the part.
yeah, you
Yes.
play the part,
Yes.
you play the role.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think hopefully they become a little more comfortable, and they come through in the following episodes.
Mhm.
Mark.
Well, for me, yeah, I'm kind of half then with if I will combine the first two parts of the first the two parts of the first episode. No, um, was I pleased? Not entirely. Siguro with
Mhm.
there were some not just a little bit, some bits and pieces of things that I liked, but the entirety of the episode, I have to agree with Nico that it's not. I cannot say that it's not my favorite no, kasi I've only seen one episode. Pero
Yep.
it's not in it for me yet.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
Um, kasi it's different when they introduce. I think they went this route. They introduced stereotypes, and we are so hoping that they break them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
We're so
Yeah.
hoping that they break them. But whereas there are other BL series that they don't need to introduce these kinds of stereotypes. I mean, they empower head on. In the first episode, they empower effeminates. They empower this. They empower this. Their causes and advocacies are very clear. They're made clear even
Right.
before they run the first episode. I mean,
Yeah.
we know who they are and who they are for and what they are for. Their
Yeah. Okay.
reason
There you go.
purpose is
There you
very
go.
much there. I'm just hoping that with Lakan, kasi right now I don't see their purpose as of yet. I mean,
Okay. Okay.
we may be
Mhm.
talking even in our last night's live. Now we may be talking so much about the tribes. We may be talking so much about the IPs, the
Right.
babay lands,
Right.
and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
um, be having that element in the story can also go south if if they just
Yes.
if they just placed it there for the concept and not for the story. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
Right.
I I, I don't. I'm hopeful that they won't go there, but if they do, that's another problem. No,
Ah,
Yeah, that was actually
Yeah.
my fear initially.
very problematic. Yeah.
Kasi
yeah,
like,
if
yeah,
they
go
if they
ahead, finish first.
sorry there. If they really introduced kasi even in the first scene of the first part of the first episode, we've seen yung the tribe. So parang is this the central theme of the whole series, or is this just part of a character's would be backstory given the last two episodes? Like, will they really
Mm-hmm.
still tackle the backstory of Kaloy? I mean, will he still be called Bulan, or will we just hear him as
Mm,
Kaloy? Because
Yeah.
for me, kasi if people are just talking about him as Kaloy, 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 it's somehow that's the thing with a character with two names, no? Parang he kind of tend to show people that it's forgettable yung backstory niya. So I mean,
Mm.
um, I just hope now we get to see more of Bulan
mm,
instead of
Yes.
Kaloy. I mean, if
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
what's the name of the other character? But if he, the partner of Kaloy, I forgot.
John.
So
John.
John,
Limaya. Or
John.
no,
Jan. Which one?
John, sorry, John. If will John be in a relationship with Bulan or Kaloy, or or a good complement of the two? I mean,
Mm.
we'll see. I'm still with this episode. I'm not as happy, but will I watch the
Mm.
second episode? Yes. If will I be, if this will be also what I will feel in the second episode, will I watch episode three? I might question myself if I will do, especially if their times
Mhm.
are late, if their show times are
Okay.
late. Because given that they're just 20 minutes, parang even if I won't be as happy with episode two, I will still watch episode three just so if the timing is correct. I mean, their show times are accurate. I mean, once you say 7, I can give you a free pass if you launch at 7:15. But if you launch at 11, that's a total different thing.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Magsabi man lang
Right.
kayo kung si EST, CST ba yan, MST.
And yeah, and you understand there's a
Maman,
typhoon, so better say na lang,
Yeah.
let's show it tomorrow. At least you don't
right?
have to wait.
You would have
Yeah.
appreciated, yep.
Yeah,
Right.
and hopefully that don't happen in the next coming episodes. Kasi I'll be speaking from an IP perspective din. Ano to? Spammer siya ulit.
Hi, Maya.
Hi,
Ah,
Maya.
yeah.
Kaya
Yes.
I felt like from an IP perspective, it
Mhm.
felt like a very big letdown for me.
Mm,
Because there was a story that's supposed to be told, especially hearing the interview from Psycho Milk, that the writer slash director was drawn or curious if there were people like me in our society, indigenous
mm.
peoples, in the tribes. So that's the first statement I remember watching his interview. And hence the concept was born.
Right, right. So,
So
sige, go ahead,
yeah,
Lance.
go ahead. You muna.
Sabi mo kasi parang the writer and the director was curious. So technically,
Iisang
he
tao siya.
parang ano, isang tao siya. So he doesn't have
Yeah.
any actual experience with the people. Parang he just got curious. And
He got
from there,
curious, sabi niya, he went to the tribes daw, met with
uh,
them, worked with them, most likely.
mm,
Pero that's why I'm more watching this because of, in support of my fellow IP,
right,
John, si Kennedy Nakar. Because for
right,
me, he's one of the very few IP I've seen in television and in movies and series. Kasi I'm fully supporting that person. There would have
right,
been one more, but he died. Marquishelo, sayang. But I mean, he's one of them who's proud to say, because the others, they might not say that they're IP, But he was one of them who'd say, I'm part of the Dumagat tribe. And unfortunately, his province right now is flooded because of the typhoon. So
Ay, okay.
hope your people are going well, John. Kennedy,
Right,
Dakar.
right, right.
So it was a letdown for me, especially when they put in the flip side episode part two. Because it was on my high on part one, but when they showed part two, it's like it went like that, then bam, it
Uh,
crashed.
that's true.
Especially seeing the way they interpreted the effeminate. Because I think their comment was, it was for comedy, sure, but if you're gonna do comedy, do it the way they're doing it in Amore. I mean, do it
Yeah.
naturally. It had to
Mm.
be pulled down a notch for them to
Yeah.
become realistic. If you watch Mamu, because that was a story of it's a movie and a story of a trans
Yeah.
woman, that was funny and it was real.
Mm.
If they did it that way, okay pa. Because
Could have been
you felt real with the people. I mean, because
mm.
in fairness with the trans community, with our LGBT community, we all have our comedy bone inside of us. If they
Mm.
Yeah.
utilize that inherently, it would have come
Mm.
out naturally. But that felt
Right.
exaggerated, especially the zoom in, the slow mos, the
Mm.
thirst traps, the pagdalaway
Yeah.
moments. That felt an exaggeration. That felt like
Super.
caricature. That felt like
Yeah.
super fan service of porn kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
It,
yes.
it it promotes the mask for mask culture, which we are all trying to debunk.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
And
offense to
yeah.
like to expressively masculine
Yes.
gay character gay people, no. Pero
Mm-hmm.
what we're just trying to emancipate is the discourse that no matter what kind of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, or whatever part of the spectrum you are, you
Mm.
shouldn't be at the pedestal of the pagkakakilanlan ng LGBTQIA+, because we do not put a certain type of LGBTQIA+ as the standard, but we are
Mm.
embracing the spectrum as all standards of
Yeah.
the community. So yeah, that's
Right.
what I'm trying to say lang. Parang
Right. Right.
sana hindi gano'n in the
Yeah.
next
Now I'm
Right.
seeing what he was saying in the interview. Now he's using the word lakan for the masculine, promote the masculine side. So parang, and he's gearing away from what Lakan used to be. So Lakan,
Okay.
for my keys information, if you missed one a while ago, Lakan is a title for both male and female.
Right.
So it's
Lakandula,
the
lakambilo.
Lakandula and Lakanbini. So they're both different genders. And Lakan is actually like, parang in Greek mythology, their counterparts are like demigods because their lineage is towards the gods or the
Okay.
deities, the diwatas.
Okay.
And not every Lakan can be called the Lakan because they have special responsibilities in their society. They have to rule over their people, kumbaga. So there, I mean, it felt like they were writing a super masculine. They're trying to portray a masculine story, which could have been a dualistic story, which is the body of the IP culture. We are
Yeah.
all for balance. We are all for equality, for male and female
Right.
together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially I think in the various IP cultures, we have that element. They may be they may leading to be patriarchal or matriarchal, but we're all dualistic as
Mhm.
Actually.
Austronesian Malay cultures.
Right.
Because in the
Right.
other societies that are around us are all dualistic too, somehow.
Mhm.
Ayun nga, parang I like hearing that because that's yun nga, diba sa first half, I felt it was poetic and very literary.
Yeah.
I felt that there's some sort of literature to it, and I'm kind of like interested to know more about the series. And then parang biglang, ayun nga, I have to agree with Mark. Last na lang to from my end. Na
Yeah.
I'm not really sure as to their purpose and their intention at the end of the day. But I'm not really sure what kind of flavor they're putting or what kind of narrative they're really putting
Mhm.
for us, diba? Number two, there's always a danger if you try to parang present or showcase two sensitive variables in society. One is race, ethnicity, and you have gender, right? And
Yeah.
these are two things that, I mean, di ba pwedeng basta-bastang i-discuss or i-present loosely at the end of the day, no? I'm hoping that the series will be more socially responsible in presenting these two variables at the end of the day, di ba? You have race and ethnicity, that's sensitive, right? We're talking about IPs here. And you have LGBT, which is gender, right? pinagsama mo yan, ay nako, I'm more curious about how they're gonna reconcile these two things. Kasi like
Yeah,
in most series kasi you see like just one variable, one area, and then
yeah,
across, different contexts and scenarios or situations. But this, I'm kind of like, okay, well, you're taking the risk of putting these two. I'm more curious na kung paano i-reconcile yan. In a
It's a
very
big
linear
task.
manner. It's a big task, exactly. So, yun lang. Parang I hope that there's going to be like social responsibility siguro in how they present and showcase more. But yeah, I'm kind of 50-50. I'm not happy tonight. I'm going to be honest. But I'd like to see more of the series siguro next week. Yeah. Yun.
Mhm.
yeah. We're all curious what will happen with the next coming series.
Right.
Hi.
You guys, there's one thing that sort of like popped in my head while you guys were talking about duality, right? I think the concept of duality in terms of the characters, I think is most evident possibly in Bulan slash Kaloy, because
Yes.
even his name, he has two names. One is Bulan, one is Kaloy, right?
Yeah, we
So
have that
Kaloy
too.
is that modern. There you go. So Kaloy is that modern, sort of like free thinker, independent guy, right? And then Bulan would be that tribal successor, ritualistic, maybe
Mhm.
person, right? So I think he has that in him already.
Yeah.
I think in terms of duality for John, we haven't seen that yet, but I guess it's basically the masculine and the femme side of him, or maybe the straight and the non-straight side. We'll see about that. But
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about this. I'm still processing it in my head because
Yeah, me
again,
too.
the theme song is Magkaibang Mundo. So sooner or
Mm,
later, we're gonna see these worlds collide, right? And
yeah.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
when they do, that's when they get together and begin this relationship, right? And
Right.
then within that relationship, their worlds will still be colliding because I think
Mhm.
again, Bulan is tied to his tribe, and then Kaloy is tied to his past as well. Wherein I think he has obligations that he needs to fulfill, and we don't know
Right.
what other obligations he has. But I'm sure that I'm thinking that it may be a very um, alam mo yun, strong ties as well.
Mhm.
So we'll see the interplay of all of those things in the coming episodes. I'm hoping,
Okay. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I hope that they treat it with I don't know. I hope they treated well.
I hope so
They really
too.
take us through this journey we're in. We also start discussing things, and I think that's one of the good things that happened for this particular episode is it got us to talking about these things as well. And I appreciate that people in the
Mhm.
chat were also providing us their comments. And if you notice, we all have different perspectives again, right?
Yes.
And we always say our opinions are our own, yours are yours. I mean, they are going to be different from each other. At one point, we may agree on things, but at some other points, we are going to be from different sides of the spectrum, right? Or different parts of
Right.
the fence. So, what's important is that we are talking about it, right? Because these are issues that we are facing, and these are issues that are close to our heart, and these are
True.
issues that probably I lack, we lack understanding in, diba? So,
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I really look forward to, at least for our group, no, that I hear your thoughts and I hear the audience's thoughts or the viewers'
Yep.
thoughts, and it helps me because I see things from different perspectives as well. But
Right.
definitely, we are going to be talking about good things. We are going to be talking about things that can be improved on because ultimately, um, the reality is that there are always good and bad things, right? Or there are always things that we can criticize about. And criticism is not
Mhm.
necessarily bad.
Yeah.
And it's actually good, especially if, for example, you see something that, hey, this can be improved on, then we talk about that, right?
Right. Right.
Because,
Right.
and also one other thing, just because you like something or you love something doesn't mean that you don't see the faults that are there. Especially, I mean, di ba, real talk, kahit sa mga relationships natin, di ba, we see the good points of our partner and then we see the bad points of our partner, right?
True.
And it is what it is. It's there, right? I mean, we don't ignore the bad parts just because we love the person. I mean, we acknowledge it and then we sort of like find a way to be able to, let's say, work around it, or I don't know, maybe that's not
Mhm.
the good term. But you see the bad points, and then either you accept it or you try to adjust yourself, etc., or you talk about it, you compromise, etc., all those things. But that's what I'm saying. You can both love something and still see um, the faults in it. I
Right,
hope I'm
right, right,
making
right.
sense.
Yes,
Yeah, you do.
totally, Mikey. Mikey, I
Yeah.
think I like what you said, but I think we're living in an ecosystem right now, right? But we're helping
Mhm.
each other because we're consuming their content, right? But at the same time, we're
Yeah.
also helping them. So I think we can kind of live in that collaborative ecosystem that we're not here to critique
Mhm.
and put them down. We're here to help each other, right?
Mhm.
Because we're here to like feel
Yes.
good about these narratives, but at the same time,
Yeah.
we're also giving inputs for them to also improve on their stories. Because we're here not to bash or not to put them down, right? We're here to like
Mhm.
help them improve because we like the series. That's why we're doing this live at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and for
Yeah.
me, I think it'd be nice to see, like, because I know Pearl Next Door has their own Soji consultant. I hope they would
Mm.
reach out also to an IP leader or an IP consultant, especially on these
Mm.
topics, or
mm,
if they would have
Mhm.
someone as well on their panel with that. I know that Nakar is also an IP, but he might not
Mhm.
fully have the whole traditions. And I know this is also
right, right,
fictional, but they represent a certain tribe in the Philippines still, or they represent an
Mhm.
embodiment of people like me who
okay,
belong to an indigenous
Mm.
people, and it's shot in
right,
the Philippines. So there's that perspective too.
okay,
And I'm really hoping that it would change sana the views or the how they tell the story in the future.
hmm,
Because right now I'm feeling like it's a love story between two guys lang, and the weight of the tribal part is being lost.
yeah, okay,
It's like it's just kumbaga, it's just a feature. It's not the part
Yes.
of the story. If you understand what I'm saying,
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
which
So
parang
that's
nawawala na
one of
yung
the questions.
social concept niya. I mean, that's why we fell in love with it because we love the IP, the ethnic, the culture in it. And if you're gonna make it just a feature, parang what will happen next?
right, right,
Mm,
right.
right. So that's why I'm hoping that we get to talk.
Yeah, me too.
To talk to them.
Kasi,
Maybe the writer,
The writer,
please.
you
most
know,
especially, yeah,
the writer, yeah, the script writer, so that we have some questions.
a lot. What are
A
what are those
lot.
Yeah,
questions?
right. And I mean, it will be valuable for them to be able to provide their perspective on the story, because basically they're the source, right? I mean, we are looking at it from an outsider's perspective. We're looking at it from the viewer's perspective. But I want to get into the process of, let's say, the people behind the production. Like, so
Mhm,
what made you
mhm,
think
mhm.
about this, or what made you decide to do it like this, etc. Right? Because at least we'll be able to maybe figure out things. Diba? Because of course we only have this particular this side, and what about that side as well, right? So yeah, um, I agree with Lance now, but it is good that they have somebody from the IP in the person of Nakar. It would be good as well to have sort of like someone who is in depth into the culture talaga of the tribe. I don't know if you guys discussed it or if somebody mentioned it in the chat, but um, is the writer director, he's not IP, but you mentioned that
No.
he immersed himself, right?
Mhm.
Yes. According to the interview he did, or he
It's like him
works
up.
with the IP,
Mm-hmm.
daw.
Okay. All right.
There's a
So
question
that's.
though.
Mhm.
When you immerse into a specific group, or in this case IP, no, parang, would you immerse with your hat on or with your hat off? Like, would you
Very good question.
immerse with your hands
Mm,
Mm,
full or with your palms open? It's
Right.
nice, good
interesting.
yeah.
metaphor. I
Yeah,
like
sana
that.
lang, sana.
Nico,
Uh-oh.
it reminds me of our other one,
We talked about that
other after show
the last
chat.
time.
I
Everyone.
know.
Because
Sorry, what?
it's the same question. Going to another after show chat, which is not related to BL. It's like Emily in Paris.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
there's no.
Yeah. And I
BTS then.
mean, with that concept of immersion, that you're wearing your hat on or off, because
Mm,
let's say if I'm going to be immersing myself in a culture, I'll learn the language, I'll learn the culture. But there's another way na if you just immerse yourself as in, I'll be an observer lang, just watching
Yeah,
everybody. Those are two different
participant
things.
observant
Yeah,
ka lang.
outsider's
Yeah,
perspective.
Yeah.
right.
Right. And I
Kasi
think you
baka,
mentioned that as well in the previous show after show chat here, right? When Nico asked, "Have you ever immersed yourself?" And
Yeah.
then you immerse yourself. Like, I mean, what do you really do? Do you? I think the
mm,
hat one was mentioned as well, right? And for my part, I wasn't able to do any immersion, but I think yeah, that's something that's difficult to do, right? When you're immersing
super.
yourself, you
Mm,
are who you are. You bring your perspective into that environment. But it would be good, syempre, if for example you sort of like try to uh, clear, you go into tabula rasa mode, so that when you absorb
yeah.
something,
Yes.
you absorb it for
Mm,
what it is, and not because you put your own color in it, or you're not wearing your rose colored lenses or whatever. And you see it for what it is, right? From the perspective of the tribe. Yeah. But
Yeah.
one thing that I can say is, and this is because I saw the Psycho Milk interview with the director and with the main couple. The director presented himself as femme,
Yeah.
right? So that there is that perspective as well. Um, so going back to the caricatures, which is why sort of like it was a bit it didn't connect for me because here are
Yes.
caricatures and then here is the director who appeared to be femme for me. So I don't know, but again, I don't know what the purpose is. There may be a purpose, or they might break that stereotype later on. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll
Yeah.
see. Yeah,
Let's
and I
see.
think because we're wearing all a different hat when we started watching this. Like, if we're supposed to watch boys, like let's say boys lockdown, we're wearing a hat that would take this light or romantic or puppy love. But this, we had a serious tone at the start,
Yeah, we
true.
were
so
very
it
serious
had
about it.
it had a disconnect from part one to part two because we're taking the whole thing seriously now, and you have that comic relief that felt like
Mm,
it belonged to another genre of BL or another genre of the series.
Yeah.
So it felt there's an inconsistency with that
yeah.
itself.
Yung sinasabi ni Jude kanina. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
Nope.
I just have to ask no. We just have to be. I kasi ako personally, I've just seen the picture of the director and the writer. I'm just not sure if anong pronouns yung preferred niya. Maybe if one of
Yeah,
the
I don't
people in
know.
the comments.
Okay.
Ako din, I don't know kasi.
Right,
So,
right,
yun
right.
maybe if, kasi we've been referring to the director as the he, his
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
pronoun. So, maybe if we're wrong, please do correct us kasi we
Yes,
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 don't.
yes.
please.
Would appreciate
Yeah.
it, yes.
Yeah, we'd love that.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
But
siguro ano, yeah, go ahead.
sorry, just want to piggyback talaga yung words of the night.
Oy,
I wanna add.
Yesterday
I wanna
pa.
add. I
magiging
wanna add.
trademark na ng BBS yan. I wanna piggyback
Correct.
on that. Ganon, gamitin natin yan.
Pero gusto ko pera eh. Can I piggyback? Charot.
Piggyback.
Kailangan natin.
I like to piggybank on something. Go,
Yeah, we
Mark.
need that.
Okay. I wanna piggyback on what on what Lance mentioned earlier. No? Because I was because it's like watching. Are you guys familiar with TBA Studios? No? It
Yes, yes.
Familiar. Familiar,
that was
yes.
my expectation. In fact, it will go that
Mm,
way. Parang
Yeah.
watching the two parts of the first episode. Parang I'm watching General Luna and then suddenly, no offense man,
Mhm.
guys get the walks in. Parang I get that impression while watching na parang it's
I
supposed to be
understand you completely.
serious. Parang biglang lalabas si Vice or sila, like Tekla or what. So parang I was
right.
there's a certain disconnect with some scenes. No? Sana if they really want to incorporate history, if they want to incorporate the tribes, and then they want to incorporate then the sige, if they want to incorporate Bighani and Liningning, maybe not in the same episode. Make
True.
certain
Yes,
things
not
they could
yes.
have done.
Yes. Exactly my thoughts. It felt like you went from Henry Luna to Sister Akas in one day.
Uy, grabe ka sa Sister
I
Akas.
haven't seen Sister Rafa, so I
Gusto ko yun.
relate.
I mean, maganda
Ay,
nga
charot
siya,
lang.
pero
Ay, charot lang, charot lang.
pero the jump of genres, parang hindi ka mawiwindang nun. Like
Uy,
you watch one clip of Henry Luna, then you watch
right.
biglang may sisingit na clip ng Sister Akas. Wouldn't you be shocked
Mm,
as well?
Exactly.
Like what just
yeah,
Exactly.
happened?
it would. It would be so how do you go? uh, idiosyncratic. Huh?
Uh,
Anyway,
kasi
Ano
they
yeah.
made it
daw?
idiosyncratic.
Oh,
Okay,
i-piggyback mo na yan,
we should
mama.
have taken. Oh, ito piggyback ko na yan, right? But I guess again, that might be the duality thing. So
Right.
yeah.
Uy,
Yeah.
ako. I think, was it Mark or Lance? And then Mikey siguro naghalo-halo na siguro. Parang
Yeah.
Yeah.
parang about immersion, ganyan and all. I think lahat
Lahat
kayo
na
nagsabi about
tayo.
lahat tayo actually. Di ba parang, kaya tinanong ko si Lance parang what kind of immersion was it? Kasi here's the thing parang, I think tama sabi ni Mark na parang you shouldn't be biased whenever you participate. If you're an observant, you don't just observe, but you sometimes participate minsan in the process, right? So
Yeah.
baka kasi ito, ang mindset is before immersing in the culture, parang boys love na agad ang cognitive bias. Parang I need to create or write something about boys love, right? And
Mm.
then, i-immerse ka sa culture ng IP, parang mababahira na siya. Kasi as opposed to you are just exploratory, right? Baka mag-iiba ang kwento pag andun ka and then you discovered, ito pala ang relationship, ay may ganito palang ugnayan, ay may ganito palang boys love in IPs. Baka may cognitive bias lang in the immersion process. Those are just my thoughts. Parang, 'di ba? Parang
Yeah.
I would have been more curious siguro about um the boys love in the IP community gets. I would have been more interested in that if that's even possible. Pero ito kasi para tama ka, Lance, parang biglang hinaraluna din si Steracas. Biglang, si Steracas was Chris Aquino, di ba? Yung mahaba yung pilik mata.
Chris and Vice.
Chris and
Chris and
Vice
Vice.
ata.
Correct.
Pero
Kung
it's really funny.
pinanood
Like
talaga yun.
it's like you'll have a courtyard scene of Naraluda being shot in the courtyard, and suddenly you'll see Vice scream with Chris Aquino on the next clip. So
Exactly.
imagine that.
Oh my God, tawa ako doon. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't relate. But one thing I can say, and I think I told Nico this already. I'm not. I don't really watch Tagalog films. Not that I'm anti-Filipino or anything.
Yeah.
It's just that I mean I grew up in with American films because my uncle lived in the States, and whenever he would come home, he would have boxes and boxes of VHS
Right.
tapes and Datamax, and it's all HBO films. You know, HBO recorded piracy. So I mean, I grew up watching American films, and then when I became older, I started watching Tagalog films, etc. But I guess it never really drew me because, well, I mean, I would watch maybe romantic films. You know,
Yes.
those I would enjoy, and we mentioned it in another what do you call it? Another group, right? That I'm
Yeah.
really into romantic films and coming of age films, etc. Or yeah, but anyways, yeah, I never really got into Tagalog films, etc. But syempre, in recent years, I got more interested, and there were some that really caught my attention, right? And in terms of series, Tagalog series, I've also never been into them, like the teleseries and such. Like, I never
Mhm.
appreciated the Mara Clara stuff, or the
Oh my
Cadena
god.
Cadena de
Cadena
To.
de To.
You know this,
Yeah.
people. Like,
Yes.
everyone will be into it, and I'm like, "Hmm, okay, right?" And so but the thing is, with the BLs, I'm now more interested. So I think my point here is that if there are things that I miss or that I misinterpret, etc., please don't take it against me. It's just that I have lack of
Oo.
experience when it comes to
Yeah.
Filipino media, right? Hindi naman sa burgis ako or anything. Sinasabi ko lang talaga.
I understand you naman.
So,
Kasi,
yun.
yeah.
So that's why
We, I,
I'm learning and I'm appreciating. And one thing I can say is that I am really appreciating all these PLs that are coming out. So that's
Mhm.
why I
Yun.
guess
Me
I
too.
guess I'm more hopeful because I'm coming from the perspective
Right.
that I didn't really watch these shows before, but
Okay.
now I am watching them. So I guess I'm thinking, I'm hoping that it does well because I want it to do well. You know what I'm getting? You know what I'm
Yeah. Gets.
yeah, so yeah, right. But again, with Lakan, I think that I'm very hopeful. We'll see. But laging may, we'll see. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Lance. You were saying something.
Kuniko,
Si Lance.
Ako ba?
ikaw ata.
Ako ba, Lance? O, mag-piggyback na tayo lahat. Joke lang.
O sige, go.
Do you have anything else to say about this episode, though?
Um,
Well, just don't be as late next time.
Yeah.
Yun lang.
me, ako ba? The episode, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not you, not you.
The episode. Yeah, I got it.
Episode.
Right,
parang-
I agree.
don't be on a clutch grip na on your known tropes or known ways to promote or show Philippine series, because I know the director has his repertoire of Philippine movies and series as well, and I think when in doubt, clutch on those old tropes, all those comic relief, those slapstick comedy, those slapstick formulas of teleseries and etc. So I hope he doesn't do that and make the characters as real as possible, if ever, especially that they've given a serious note on the whole thing. Yun lang. And hopefully they pursue more on IP representation. That's
Right.
the one thing we were all looking for. I think we were looking for the world that was built around it, the new tribe, the new culture, and if they could highlight that more, I think we'd appreciate it more,
Yeah.
especially.
And while pursuing, I hope it gets to be more responsible in
Yeah.
doing so, no? Kasi it can
Yes.
easily go elsewhere. So sana clear path yung pupuntahan natin.
Yeah.
Right.
One thing
Sama
that
ako.
one thing that I'm wondering though, because if they had already finished filming and it's only post prod, I think in
Mhm.
terms of getting that or being able to change anything, medyo mahirap na yan, right?
Yeah, I understand.
We'll see. We'll see. But
Nagiging together siya.
yeah, kasi
Robert Shaw.
sorry, it took me a second. It took me a second to observe.
Together, sira ka, sobra ka ha.
But one thing I can envision, or one thing I'm sure of, I don't think it will end in a high five.
Oh, definitely. Sapakan to, sapakan.
With the way that
Suntukan to.
right, my God, it's gonna be a makeup sex. That's gonna be what's gonna happen here.
We always saw that.
Ah,
Sapakan muna the makeup sex.
Correct. One else, I also agree. Siguro it's the production challenges that are bogging down or that's making them late. Now, one thing that we can do is if you are going to be late, let us know. Put it in your social media, right?
Mhm.
Because if there's no video on YouTube, then there's nothing we can comment on. So basically, we're just hanging, right? We don't know what's happening. So if you could hopefully put it on social media, if there are going to be any challenges or if there's going to be any delays, please put it there so that we know, right? And then we can also manage our. Tingnan nyo naman nakatulog ako kasi hindi ko alam kung anong oras. Di sana nag-alarm ako. Or di ba?
Siguro next time, if they plan to air it at 7 plus 3 hours, tell the people that we're airing it at 10 o'clock, but they're preparing on 7, uploading on 7 p.m.
Yeah. Yun lang. I mean, I understand that there are production issues because of
Yes.
this and because of the internet connection and all that. So just let us know. I mean, we're okay to wait as long as we know when it's gonna drop. Yun. Siguro that's it for me for now. Because you guys have already said everything already.
cool. Oh, we just want to say hi to Mark Arlante. He just recently
Mark.
subscribed to our channel. Thank you so much, Mark. We hope
Yeah.
to see you this
Thank
Thursday.
you.
And
Hinagap
Randy.
namin from the lives yan.
talaga? Yay!
We were chatting I was chatting with Talamasca and Jude about that. Sabi ko nga,
Okay.
di ba, Nico? We had to do this because people were waiting. Because I mentioned in the live chats in episode 2 that I needed to unpack. Jude and I needed to unpack.
Right.
Yeah.
Or,
And
ano,
also,
sabi ko,
Thanks, Mark.
Talamasca, thank you for commenting. And I think you
Yeah.
subscribed as well. And I saw Rafi as well earlier. Thank you as well for
Oh
subscribing.
yeah, thank you, Rafi.
Oh, cool. Yay! Sabi ko nga kay
Yeah.
Mark, tsaka kay Lance, sabi ko parang hindi ko mag-lives, ganyan. Parang sabi ko nila, Mark, pwede naman tayo next week na lang. Gusto na mag-unpack ni Lance.
Uh-uh.
Pagkakita ko sa sa ano, parang hindi pa naka-live, 'di ba? May mga comments na talaga, nakita ko talaga si Jude. Sabi ko, hala, live na tayo, hindi pwede.
Told you. So effective pala
Right.
yun. So I ambush the lives.
Oo.
Right.
So that's what we do.
Si Amang, nagpalive tuloy siya.
Oo.
Mm,
'Di ba? Customer service, mama, alam mo 'yan.
correct. Delighter ba yan? Or satisfier?
Oo. Natawa ako ano, kay Lance, Mike, sabi na ano, when in doubt, sort it out. Charot lang. Sige.
Yes.
Oh my God, the 5 S's. Because it's also
Okay.
a Japanese, it's also a Japanese concept, diba?
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh,
Right. So
Rafi,
again,
thank
thank you very much, guys. Thank you. And
you, Rafi.
again, I just want to
Thank you, Rafi.
reiterate, I don't think I can stress this enough, that we appreciate all your perspectives, and we love hearing from you. We want to know your thoughts. Of course, we want to understand it from another viewpoint, diba? So hopefully, ganun yung maging environment or maging, I don't know, maging culture natin with BBS, right? Now, even though we have differences in opinion, that we still listen to each other and then we respect each other's opinion. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Oh, I love this comment. Oh my God. Thank you so much for appreciating
Oy,
that.
thank you,
Yeah,
Talamasca.
thank you, Talamasca.
Are you Filipino? Ay, nagtatagalog siya. Okay. I'm still half asleep.
Pero curious
Anyways,
lang kami kung anong... Talamasca, what pronouns do you use? Because we're not really sure if he, she, they, it,
because
or
of
whatever
the
you use.
avatar,
The avatar in the name. So I'm really curious.
Yeah.
yeah. So we try to do right by you. That's why we're asking what your pronouns
Yes.
are.
Oh, but
Right.
I know we're hoping to
We're not
like
perfect.
invite. We're also hoping to like invite people to join us in the room, diba? We did invite
Yeah.
sino ba in-invite natin?
Bono.
Kapono.
Kapono, yeah.
Bono,
Because Kapono, yep. Right.
Yeah,
right,
so
right.
that can happen too, right? I mean, if you guys are ready
Ay, si
and willing.
Joy. Joy from Dubai.
Hey,
Hi, Joy.
Hi, Joy.
Kamusta?
Kamusta?
Just say
Baka gusto ni Joy
goodbye.
mag-live minsan.
Just say hello. Just
Na late
say
na raw siya.
goodbye.
Oh, busy. Busy si
Okay,
Mama.
Mikey. I like that.
Hi, Joy. Thank you for
Hi,
being
Joy.
here.
Baka gusto mo na
By the
mag-live
way,
minsan.
Joy is also a dabbler in writing. So
Yes.
she wrote alternative
Wow.
universes. I know that she wrote one for Boys Lockdown. I don't know if she wrote one
Cool.
for other series. Pero gumawa siya ng alternative universe. Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And siguro si Joy would be great for Pearl Next Door if ever. Because she
Oh,
has
okay.
this bisexual. She's a proud bisexual. So we
I
could see her
like that.
perspective as
Yes.
well.
Sige. Okay. Oh, but we can
Okay.
probably invite. Sorry,
Next
Mikey,
week ba
go.
yan? Ano, next
Next
week ba
week
yan? Yung PND.
PND.
ba na?
Ano
We'll let them know.
Yes, wala tanong. Wala tayong full-time na trabaho. Ma'am?
Oo nga eh. May trabaho tayo eh.
Oh my God. So many series, guys. Can we stop? So many series.
Please. We need to keep up.
Imagine if you were a reactor. You would have to edit your video,
Every
premiere
time.
it. Like, oh my God.
But good thing nga tayo good thing for us because we're doing live and then everything's set up already on YouTube and we just end it and then done. Diba? Wala na tayong mga post-process na ganyan. Kasi yung mga actors, they do the post-processing, post-editing pa diba?
There is one reactor who I think does that. Like, he just records and then boom, upload. Javi. If you notice, Javi doesn't have any special effects. He doesn't have any sound effects at all. It's just basically him looking at the screen and then talking. And then you have sort of like the episode here and then the poster here. And then that's it. So very minimalist. I think, that's the easiest way to go. Yeah.
Mikey, may question to Joy.
What's your question?
Teka, kilala niyo ako? Yes, of course. Sabay-sabay tayo nagkakalat sa kalat crew. Sabay-sabay tayo nagkipagdaldalan kay Tito Gas.
We're usually in the comments. And
We're always in the comments. Joy,
Joy,
we follow each other
we
on
follow
Twitter.
each other in Twitter. Yeah. I mean, you sent me a DM.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe she's talking about Mark and
Yeah,
Nico.
Mark and Nico, and maybe the other people as well in the chat.
Okay,
You know
right,
it.
right.
You know it.
Probably.
Kasi sabi ko nga Joy sa chat, sikat ka na dear. You're famous now.
Yeah.
So let's
Very
hear for
good.
a reminder like for everyone. I mean they can actually join the room. Through this Thursday we're gonna be doing our review or after show chat for Ben X Gym. This is gonna be the third episode, tama ba? Third episode na, no?
Yes. Thursday.
Yes.
And on Friday, what are we doing?
Well,
GSP.
yes.
Girl Scout of the Philippines. Charot lang.
Gold Star. Why not?
Girl Scout of the Philippines.
Girl Scout, akala ko Gold Star. Ito na naman.
Gold
Anyway,
Star.
Gold Star of the Philippines.
Alam mo,
not even drinking. What the
God, that is real. It's already 1 a.m.
Speaking of drinking, parang gusto kong gawin minsan yun dito. As in, may mga...
Mahirap na.
Ay! Nako, talaga. Sige.
I don't know. I mean, if you guys are down, I can, grab a beer.
Yes! Nako. Sige.
But the
Shit,
challenge
Friday
is,
pala.
since
Friday's
this
gonna be
Friday,
terrific pala. We have quarantines, GSP. I'm
Yes, the
teaming
finale.
too. What else?
Tama na. Tama na.
What else is on Friday? Wait, Pearl is on Friday or Saturday?
Oo na,
Better
Oo na, Lance.
days is hearing this Friday.
Oo na, Lance. Dami na.
Watch that too. I want to watch that too. I'm interested in that.
Yeah, GSP quarantines PND. And tomorrow too, we have the opening of Your Home and the Theory of Love, the special episode.
Special episode.
Eh, ano na. Hello. Dami.
bawal magtrabaho.
Kaya pa ba?
Kaya pa.
Mag-leave na ako isang buwan nito para tuloy-tuloy na itong pagla-live natin. Kasapin ko
Dati
boss.
nga nakalive nga ako ng Fridays, di ba?
Oo. Kasapin ko boss.
So Rafi Rillo says, Fridays are so packed. It's very true.
Yeah. Super, super. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, yes.
Fridays. Yes.
Sabi ni Joy, ikaw pala daw yan, Mikey.
Yes, it's me. Yeah. I think this is the first time she's seen my face, I guess.
Yes.
Yes.
Hindi niya
Alright.
makaalala. Basta
So,
Lens
I
Lucas
guess-
and IG.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I was just reading the comments. So I guess that brings us to the end of another after show chat. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. We appreciate all of your comments. Keep on posting, keep on commenting, and if you like us, go ahead and click the like button, follow us, subscribe, share as well. We're all on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and here on YouTube. So it's Buaha B Squad. Thank you again for joining us. I know it is late. So na we can now go to
Alauna
our-
na ng madaling araw.
So, natagalan tayo dito. But appreciate you all for being here and for staying and being with us. So thank you. We'll see you in the next one.
Thank you
For
so
tonight,
much.
it is good
Yeah,
night. and see you.
shukran, merci, gracias,
Bye.
mahalo.
Hello.
Thanks so much.
Salamat.
everyone.
Salamat po.
See you in the next
You look
one.
cool.
Bye.
Salamat.